My goodness.
Bronny James is way more famous than a good number of NBA players. But everyone is too concerned with him being the son of arguably the greatest player ever. We tend to forget he actually has a lifestyle of his own. What's this kid's lifestyle really about, outside of just being the GOAT's son? Stay with us to find out. You probably have a preconceived idea of what growing up as LeBron James' son would be like. But trust us, Bronny has something a bit different. You see, people tend to forget that this dude is 19 years old, and his dad is just 39, meaning he had Bronny when he was pretty young. LeBron Raymond Bronny James Jr. was born in Akron, Ohio, on October 6, 2004, as the first of LeBron James' 3 children. When Bronny was born, his dad had only just finished his first season in the league, and was the reigning NBA Rookie of the Year at the age of 19. His mom, Savannah, on the other hand, was only just in her senior year of high school, meaning she had to put her education on hold to have Bronny. Despite LeBron and Savannah not being officially married till 2013, they lived together and raised Bronny in their home in Akron. Ordinarily, one would assume that being born to an NBA legend automatically meant Bronny would also end up on the court. Let's be real. Of all the greatest to ever play the game of basketball, how many can boast of having kids who actually excelled at basketball? Of Michael Jordan's 5 kids, only 2 ever got as far as college ball, nothing further. Shaquille O'Neal, Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, Allen Iverson, all legends of the game whose kids never even came close to being top basketball players themselves. And to be real, Bronny James just could have ended up being another one of such kids in another universe, particularly given he was allowed to play a lot of sports as a kid, including basketball and soccer. The only sports he didn't play were ice hockey and football, which was because of LeBron's safety concerns for his first son. By the time Bronny was 10 years old, however, it had become clear that the basketball court was where he belonged after all. His performance in youth basketball games for the Miami City Ballers and Houston-based Gulf Coast Blue Chips started getting national attention. These performances improved, and by middle school, Bronny was leading his school, the Old Trail School in Bath Township, Ohio, to tournament wins. We should also mention that before Old Trail, Bronny played middle school basketball at the North Coast Blue Chips alongside future NBA prospect Mikey Williams, and at a private K-12 school in Santa Monica, California called Crossroads School, where he scored 27 points in his debut game. Being LeBron's son also meant Bronny got to join the Nike Elite Youth Basketball League Strive for Greatness team at age 14. But it wasn't until his high school days that this kid really got strong, attending Sierra Canyon School in Chatsworth, Los Angeles. With his brother Bryce and Dwayne Wade's son Zaire Wade, Sierra became one of the best high school teams in the nation. While Bronny was a freshman, the team already had 5-star recruits, Brandon Boston Jr. and Zaire Williams, leading on the court, and a number of their games were being covered on ESPN. Sure, he didn't get as much game time since he was a freshman, but Bronny did have some crazy performances that season, including bagging 15 points against his dad's alma mater, St. Vincent St. Mary High School, and a season-high 17 points in a 117-62 win over Viewpoint School. He only got better as the years passed, averaging 8.8 points, 3.3 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and 1.9 steals per game in 29 appearances in his junior year, and an outstanding 14.2 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 1.8 steals per game as a senior. At this point, the entire basketball world had him in conversations for the next big thing. But here's what nobody talked about. In Bronny's senior year, with younger brother Bryce on the team, the Sierra Canyon had their worst performance in the regular season and Southern Section Open Division playoffs in over 4 years, and even got relegated from the CIF Open Division to Division 1. Bronny still got selected to play in the McDonald's All-American game though, and was also named to the United States team for the Nike Hoop Summit, scoring 15 and 11 in both games respectively. Up next, college. Despite dropping out from the top 30 rankings by the major recruiting services, it was reported in his senior year that Bronny was considering playing college ball at either Ohio State, Oregon, or USC. Here's the twist though. This kid had been receiving scholarship offers and letters of interest from college basketball programs since he was just 10 years old. Everyone wanted to have the GOAT's son on their team, whether he was actually good enough or not. The interest subsided a bit when he was dropped to a 4-star recruit in his junior year, but a good number of D1 colleges were still on the line, and eventually, Bronny chose to commit to USC in May 2023. To keep it real, however, things have not quite gone as planned. For one, less than 3 months after enrolling at USC, Bronny collapsed at the Galen Center during a team practice session. A statement was released soon after that revealed he had suffered cardiac arrest caused by a congenital heart defect. According to the statement, Bronny was rushed to the ICU before getting stabilized and was released from the hospital 3 days later, on July 27. The condition that caused this unfortunate incident is one that could potentially have ended his playing career. But Bronny recovered from it commendably, and less than 5 months after, he made his collegiate debut for the Trojans on December 10th, finishing with 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block against Long Beach State. But that might just be the only commendable part of his college career so far. It's almost as though playing college ball has exposed the fact that he's not even nearly ready to be an NBA-level player. The USC Trojans are currently one of the most disappointing teams in the worst of all 6 power conferences. They were predicted to finish second in the Pac-12 at the start of the season, but are now languishing in and around last place. And get this, Bronny still hasn't been good enough to start for a team doing this poorly. He has gotten his chances off the bench, but has repeatedly put up very disappointing performances that cost his team. One of these games was when he came on against Colorado to help his team protect their 2-point lead, only to be caught slacking when Colorado guard KJ Simpson drove past to get the game-tying dunk. Currently, Bronny is averaging a measly 5.7 points per game this season, and even USC coach Andy Enfield has been unable to defend his flaws. He definitely isn't going to be the physically smallest if he gets into the NBA today, but he's far off from being ready for the league. A promising jump shot, an obviously high basketball IQ, strong defensive instincts, and a sturdy frame are all ingredients that make good players. But at the moment, all that won't be enough to get Bronny drafted. And that says a lot, considering most NBA teams would hop on the chance of drafting him if it means getting LeBron James as part of the deal. Everyone knows LeBron has insisted on playing on the same team as his son, which automatically gives Bronny's draft chances a bit of a boost. However, with what his collegiate career has indicated, no team would be willing to have him on their roster just to get a 39-year-old LeBron. The cons of that move easily outweigh the pros. We're not saying he'll never make it to the league, but he'll definitely need at least a couple more seasons to get to a level that earns him a first-round pick. Get this though, Bronny might not be on the level of an NBA player yet, but he's definitely making the bag just like them. Sure, college programs don't put players on a payroll, so Bronny makes all his money through NIL endorsement deals. Way back in 2020, he got signed to his first sponsorship deal with esports organization FaZe Clan and began streaming games under the handle FaZe Bronny. This partnership also led to Bronny getting his first appearance on the cover of Sports Illustrated, alongside other members of FaZe Clan, including NFL quarterback Kyler Murray. His first actual NIL deal didn't come until early 2022, when he became a brand ambassador for PSD underwear. Later on, in October the same year, Bronny celebrated his 18th birthday by officially becoming a Nike athlete, just like his dad, becoming one of 3 high schoolers to be signed by the company at the time. He also got signed to an endorsement deal with Beats by Dre, for which he has appeared in ads with his dad. All these deals sum to a whopping estimated $5.9 million in NIL value, making Bronny James the highest earning NCAA athlete in the world. And we're not just talking about basketball. In fact, Bronny is the only basketball player in the top 5 NIL earners. It may also interest you to know that this guy has some crazy plans to make a name for himself, which explains why he's filed for trademarks on variations of his names. Bronny, BJ Jr., and Bronald. It goes without saying that Bronny also makes quite a profit from his large social media following. This kid legit reached 1 million followers the first day he opened his Instagram account, and since then he's added over 6.5 million more. The question of what he does with all this money isn't really a valid one, however, given his dad is a billionaire. Bronny probably doesn't have to spend a penny of his money, but he lives like he does. We mean, taking a look at the cars he's been seen in, this dude really knows all about the luxury life. Starting with the Mercedes-AMG GT Black Series P1 Edition, to the customized black and silver color Jeep Wrangler, and even a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. The ride we can be sure he owns, however, is a Dodge Charger, which made headlines when he was gifted it for his 16th birthday. And word on the street, superstar rapper Drake got this ride for him. Now, for the last part of Bronny James' life off the court that ladies have been dying to know. Yup, Bronny has a girlfriend. Her name is Peyton Golfuso, and her and Bronny met while attending Sierra Canyon School, although Peyton was his senior by a year. The two began dating in 2022 and have been together ever since, although Peyton is enrolled at Southern Methodist University. Back during their high school days at Sierra Canyon, she played volleyball, tennis, and soccer, but has now taken up a career as a social media influencer and content creator. The last time they were photographed in public was at Bronny's prom night in 2023, but their relationship seems to still be going strong to date. Although Bronny's playing career isn't looking as promising as he'd like, it's good to know he still has other things going on for him in his life. And we'll be here to keep tabs on how it all turns out. Oh, and in case you missed our hot video about Victor Wembanyama, here it is for you.
Two, and look at them guard one another. Trying to poke it away.
Before he came into the league, everyone described him as a unicorn. And every time Victor Wembanyama gets on the court, we see why they call him that. Guess what though? Even off the court, Wembley is still built different.
Yeah, it's a dream for anyone, to be.
And his lifestyle isn't that of a regular baller. Just how much of his lifestyle isn't what you think? Stick around to find out. The media call him a unicorn. LeBron James has called him an alien.
We're labeling like this unicorn thing. Everybody's been a unicorn over the last few years, but he's more like an alien.
And when you take a look at his crazy diet and lifestyle, maybe he's actually both of those things. But to fully understand how and why Wembanyama's lifestyle is different from what you'd assume, we have to get back to his roots. Everyone knows he's French. But what you don't know is that Victor comes from a long line of athletes and ballers. This goes back to 2 generations before him, as both of his maternal grandparents played basketball. In fact, his granddad, Michel de Fautereau, went as far as playing pro basketball in the top basketball division in France in the 1960s, representing the Paris University Club. Coming down to his parents, Wemby's mom, Elodie de Fautereau, also played pro basketball before going into coaching. His dad, Felix, on the other hand, wasn't much of a basketball dude, but was a successful track and field athlete in his native country of Congo. We should add that both his folks are 6'3", so Victor has all the right genes. Even his siblings, his older sister Eve and younger brother Oscar, both play basketball professionally and at youth level. Clearly, Victor Wembanyama was born to play basketball, but surprisingly enough, this dude had other career plans as a kid. Growing up in the western suburbs, Wemby spent most of his earlier years trying out as a soccer goalkeeper and also practicing judo. But that was all before the growth spurt kicked in. As crazy as it sounds, Wembanyama was already 5'11" when he was just 9 years old, so his parents ensured he began focusing more on basketball. Given his mom was a professional basketball coach and trainer, it didn't take long for a young Victor to hone his skills on the court. He soon got into the youth system of Nanterre 92, and from then on, it was up and away. Wemby's development process was really crazy. Spanish giants FC Barcelona were trying to sign him at just age 14. He'd eventually decline Barca's offer and stay at Nanterre, which led to him getting his professional debut in the LNB Pro A at just age 15.
Whether I like it, everything went in.
Hold up. Wait a minute. What about schooling? Apparently, Wembanyama was a genius in school and was a year ahead of his age, attending a state-funded school in France in agreement with Nanterre 92. After that, he proceeded to earn his baccalaureate, which is technically a French national academic qualification for high schoolers, but which is supervised by full university professors. Wemby earned this degree in Earth and Life Sciences and Social and Economic Sciences. Additional fun fact just for you. Wembanyama actually taught himself to speak English by watching videos from American accounts on Instagram and English language television shows since his middle school days. Now, back to the basketball court. 2 years after joining Nanterre, Victor moved to ASVEL and dominated the Pro A League in 1 season before joining the Metropolitans 92. And in the next couple of seasons, Wembanyama conquered French basketball. And you probably know the rest. he became the most hyped NBA prospect since LeBron James, declared for the 2023 NBA Draft, got selected by the Spurs, and has spent the last few months balling. Before you go, oh, he hasn't been balling because the Spurs are having a terrible season. Pay attention to these. Yeah, the San Antonio Spurs are 15th in the West and are having an abysmal season with an 8-35 record. However, if there has been any glimmer of hope for Popovich's young team, it's definitely Victor Wembanyama. In the 37 games he's had in his rookie season, Wemby is currently averaging a super impressive 20.3 points, 10.0 rebounds, and 2.9 assists. His outstanding average of 3.2 blocks also means he has the highest blocks per game in the entire NBA, which is an insane feat for any rookie. Speaking of rookies, there's still a good number of games left in this 2023-24 NBA season. But as it stands, Victor Wembanyama is on his way to being named Rookie of the Year. The only competition he might have is OKC's Chet Holmgren, who's averaging 17.3 points, 7.2 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and 2.5 blocks in 42 games so far. But here's the thing about the Rookie of the Year award. Chet is playing on a Thunder's team that is second in the West and has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has over 31 points per game, and Jalen Williams with over 18 points. Wemby, on the other hand, has the Spurs sitting at the bottom of the rankings in the same conference. Everyone thought Greg Popovich's team had hit rock bottom last season after they finished with just 22 regular season wins, but this season is definitely looking worse. Despite the lack of support, however, time and time again, we've seen Wembanyama take all the responsibility with some record-breaking performances this season. This guy has gone 8 straight games posting doubles, dropped a crazy 35-point, 10-rebound, 2-block stat line against the Phoenix Suns, something only LeBron and Durant have ever done, and also became the youngest NBA player in history to drop a 20-20 game when he did so against the Bulls. And that's in just half a season. Living true to the unicorn hype, perhaps Victor Wembanyama's most outstanding attribute is how he manages to contribute maximally at both ends of the court. We mean he's leading the league in blocks and is up there with the highest scorers. In the words of his coach, Greg Popovich, Wemby has really progressed in his aggressiveness. From early on this season, we've seen that he needs to do some extra work on his three-point shooting, but he hasn't let that bother him one bit. Instead, Wemby had allowed himself to become the target by running the entire floor and setting the tone of defense for the entire Spurs roster. Sure, the success of the entire team is what matters most, but Wembanyama obviously understands this, as shown by his attitude to being benched at the start of the second half during the Spurs' loss against the Hawks on MLK Day. Dude really said, "I like to be coached. I like to be threatened to be sent to the G League if I don't play the right way. I like when there are consequences to my mistakes." So you know what? Whenever Popovich gets it right with his young Spurs team, we'll definitely get an even better version of Victor Wembanyama. You know what's fun about the NBA though? Even if the Spurs aren't playing well enough for Wembanyama to show his full potential, he's still getting paid. And when we say getting paid, we're talking about a really fat paycheck. Okay, you want accurate numbers. We've got them. Victor Wembanyama is currently earning a total of $12.1 million in salary for his rookie season, as part of his total $55.7 million contract set to keep him in San Antonio for 4 years. That's the largest rookie deal in the NBA this season by a stretch, and it's only going to get better. The structure of the big man's contract will see him earn up to a whopping $17 million by his 4th season. There's also an option to extend a qualifying offer to the center, which will cost the Spurs over $23.6 million if they choose to activate it. And let's be real, the Spurs will most likely trigger that extension, which means even more money for Wembanyama. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Based on Wemby's current rookie contract, the 20-year-old could really be on the way to becoming the first player to earn $1 billion in NBA salaries. That's what the projections and the NBA's current contract limits show. We'll break it down for you. After a rookie deal worth over $55 million, Wembanyama is eligible for a 5-year rookie max extension deal that would pay him $316 million. If he stays fit and continues to deliver all-star seasons, his next deal would be a so-called Supermax contract which, based on current estimations, will be worth around $529 million over 5 years. Do some quick math, and already Wembanyama would have his career earnings running in just over $900 million. And remember, the San Antonio Spurs center is just 20 years old and would be in his early 30s, meaning if he decides to play to his mid to late 30s, he would get another Supermax contract that would take his total earnings to over $1 billion in just its first year. Just so you know, these are well-calculated numbers by NBA finance experts. So when Wembanyama does hit that billion 15 years from now, remember, you heard it here first. As much money as he seems to be making already, Wembanyama has even more coming in from endorsement deals. The first of these deals is with Nike,
Hey, this is Victor Wembanyama. It's 2023.
the brand he's been wearing on the court since he turned pro in the French league LNBA Pro A at age 15. Victor is now signed to the Swoosh brand in a deal rumored to be worth over $100 million, although the details haven't been publicly disclosed. Wembanyama hasn't kept the fact that he hopes to one day get his own signature sneakers with Nike hidden though. Describing what the Wembanyama basketball shoes would be like, he said, "I want mine to look light and align with my game. It has to be flexible so people can move quick." Sounds cool, right? We'll be waiting for them to drop. Still on the topic of endorsement deals, Victor Wembanyama also has lucrative deals with game developer 2K, plant-based sports drink Barcode, and sports merchandise retailer Fanatics. Given the caliber of player he is, one would expect this dude to have more endorsement deals than these. However, endorsing companies isn't just a money-making scheme for the youngsters. Nah, for this dude, signing with mega companies and brands has to do with how the product aligns with his personal image. For example, you've probably never heard this before, but Wembanyama turned down juicier offers from sports drinks Gatorade and Body Armor to sign with Barcode. Why? The plant-based drink company offered Wembanyama an opportunity to invest, and the product was relatable to Wembanyama's mother, who's also a nutritionist and massage therapist. That explains why Wembanyama said this after signing with Barcode. Partnering with a brand that wouldn't have been healthy and I wouldn't drink would be inauthentic. That would be me losing my identity. If that isn't him being a unicorn, then how about the fact that he doesn't live extravagantly despite all the money he makes? Yup. He's been a pro for about 5 years and has been in the NBA for months, but he's still the same old dude. Wemby hasn't bought a new house, hasn't gotten a flashy car, and doesn't spend his free time partying like other young NBA players. Instead, he sticks to his strict diet routine of eating about 5 times a day. Oh yeah, because that 7-foot body needs all the fuel it can get. Doing unique exercises like juggling tennis balls and fast twitch muscle drills, and sleeping for 10 to 11 hours daily. We all thought LeBron was kidding when he called Wemby an alien that one time. But come on, aliens don't get any weirder than this. Dude's hobbies are just basic stuff, like enjoying science fiction like Star Wars and dabbling with arts and literature. Maybe he's still settling into being the limelight, or maybe that's just how it is. Whatever the case is, we'll be keeping a close eye on him to find out. So make sure you stick around for all the info.